I'm going to record this now. We'll start with the transpose, pivoting and unpivoting, how to do pivoting and unpivoting, and what is transpose. We will take a look at in today's session. So this is my Power BI desktop. I already opened it. Okay, I just gave some name here. Okay, here, if you see, these are the data files are available. I'm going to load another data file. Instead of using the same file, I'm going to use some other file, something called expenses.xls. First of all, what is transpose? Let's go one after other. The first one is the transpose, and then we will take a look at the pivoting. After this, to basically if you want to rotate the table, you want to reshape the data. Okay, instead of viewing the data vertically, if you want to see it horizontally in the sense, if you want to convert from horizontal to vertical, something like rows to columns and columns to rows. That is possible with transpose. With transpose, you can do both. Okay, you can rotate the table. Okay, if you want to convert the columns into rows, and if you want to convert the columns into rows, that is possible with rotate. And this is the given data set. And in this, the first column, you can see Pune, the city name, and for the different dates, what is the amount? What are the units that we sold? How many number of units we sold in each city, and so on? These 3 dates. Now, if you want to rotate it, for example, so the Pune values displayed horizontally, right? Which means a row. I want the Pune to be, each column, each row should be displayed as a column. So instead of Pune display here, this is a row header, kind of row header. And I want to make this a column header. Here Pune should be there, and Chennai should be there, Bangalore should be there, Hyderabad should be there. So with the rotate, just with a click of just with one click, you can convert the rows into columns. Look here, the Pune 286.43. You can see it like this vertically, right? And the next one is Chennai. You can see Chennai values or something like this. So you can see like this. If you want to rotate your entire table, to convert into rows into columns, that is possible. And again, if you click on the transpose icon in the Power Query editor, it will convert it back from your columns to rows. Now, it got converted back to this original state. Look here, and city and Pune, something like that. Okay. That is what transpose is all about. Then it's pretty simple one. And the next one is the pivoting. Pivoting is converting the rows into columns. In this case, so what is rows into columns? Like I have discussed here, rows into columns. Okay, and you can do it. And if we have unpivot, the unpivot is the opposite of pivoting, to convert your columns into rows. But both the pivot and unpivot, you can do it with the one click of this one, the transpose. So now I just loading this file, expenses file. I just click on it. Now let's take a look at what is transpose, how we can reformat, reshape the data with this. So this is previous data. I want to use this expenses. Hence, I'm going to click on the expenses query here. This is the one I loaded just now. And you can see year, month, expenses. 3 columns are there in this. It's pretty simple data set. You don't need any explanation. It's self-explanatory, right? So each year, month. So if you see the data here, and 20, 21, and 22, each year 9-month expense values are there. So here what we want to is we want to some kind of transpose. I just click on the transpose icon here. Okay, and if I click on transpose, look here, the this is the original data. Okay, let me do one thing. This is the original data. So the 2020, right? It got converted. The rows, and if you see here, the rows became, columns almost, right? Yeah, columns. And each column, because we have so many records here, and if you see here, and so 27 rows are there, which means excluding the row column header, 26 rows are there. And if you go here, you can see 27 columns, including the header. 27 columns, you can see it here. It just simply rotates. And if you go back to this one, and when you click on it, it will bring back to the previous state. Same thing. Okay. The only thing is this one give you an idea. If you want to so instead of viewing all the time this way, if I rotate this table, it might be, it might give some insight sometimes. So, okay, that's what you can do it. And the next one is the pivoting. So now let's take a look at the pivoting, and we have something called pivot column. So what you do is you select whichever the column that you want it. Okay. And you select that column, and then if you want to pivot, click on the pivot column. And then if you select here, expenses. What do you mean by pivot? I selected the year column. Here, if you look at the year, the values in the year column, it's all in the row, right? So in year 2020, month one, how much expenses we incurred. So I want to rotate this. I want to convert this row into columns, year 2020, 2021, 2022. Okay, so I just do it now. Hence, you don't have to scroll down when you do pivoting, right? So in this case, that is one of the advantages. And if you, here I selected expenses. When I click on OK, you can see, very compact thing. After reshaping this by doing pivoting, it is pretty simple to interpret. So all the 9 months are there, and the year is there here. So with this, you can understand quickly in 2020 how much, and you don't have to scroll down, right? So everything is available in a compact shape. And if you want to do, let's say I just unselected, and if I want to do it, the pivoting, if I want to pivoting on month, what will happen is, 1 second, your month row will become, the month will become column. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns will be there. So now I want to do a pivot based on the month column. I just go to the transform, click on pivot icon, and then here I select expenses. When I do this, yes, I can see this. The year, this is also very compact, but you need to scroll towards the right. And this is another way of viewing your data. Okay, the same data, but you are viewing it in different aspects, rotating your data. This is your pivot on month. So month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. Okay, and that is how we can do it. And you cannot, sometimes, okay, my advanced options, you have something called aggregate value function. You have different values are available. If you want to do some kind of aggregations, you can do it with this. So 2021, 2022, and here you can see the expenses. But actually this is wrong. Okay, you are not supposed to do it this way. And yeah, I do the year once again. Here I just go to the pivot column, and here I just select expenses and advanced option. Here the default one is sum here, and I take the average. Okay, but here each month we have only one record. Okay, hence it will not do. For example, in 2020, month 1, again you have month 1, 5,000 and 10,000, this is again 15,000. So 15,000 plus 5,000, 20,000 divided by 2, it will give 5. But since we don't have more than one record for the combination of the year and month, right? We don't have the, we don't have more than one record. Okay, so we have single record for the combination of each year and the month. So hence it is not doing the average. And if you don't want to do any aggregation, you can do it that way also. Okay, but in your here, nothing is there to aggregate, right? So probably you can take this data set and put, in 2020, for each year, you put some sample data. No? So month, add in 2020, you put one more month one, and then you put some other value and check if average is working in some also you can do it. Okay, you can do pivoting as well as you can perform aggregation also. Next one is, yes, I just do the pivoting once again on the month column. And here I just select, so if you select year values as column, uh, it doesn't make any sense, right? So though just because these options are available, you should know how to use it correctly. So here in the month column, I selected, and if I go here and I just select the values here, the numeric values here. So expenses, in this case, the expense is a numeric variable. So now we can see that we did the pivoting successfully. We converted the months which were in rows into columns now. Now I want to do some kind of unpivoting. We have an option here, transform and unpivot. So I wanted to bring back to the previous state. How can I do that? So in that case, the one way is I need to select all the columns, but you cannot select all the columns in one go. In order to do that, but it is possible, but you need to hold the control key and then only you can select all the columns. For example, if you want to select more than one column, you need to hold your control key. You're not supposed to release your control key. You're done. So next you can release the control key now, and then go to your transform, and here go to unpivot. And if you say unpivot columns, that's it. You got the previous state of the previous format of your data. So here you need to say month, and here you need to rename the value. Got it back. Supposing you have done something like this. So in this case, I have to manually go and select each and every column, right? That's a painful thing. What I do is instead I select only the first column here. Then I go to the transform, and here I just go here, unpivot other columns. Okay, it's pretty simple. I don't have to manually select all the columns. Okay, instead, select the column which you don't want to do unpivoting, and then go to transform, and then you just select this option, unpivot other columns. Look here, we don't have to select manually. Okay, this is for convenience sake they've given. And other option is you have something like pivot only selected columns. I don't want to do pivoting on all the columns, only selected columns I want to do pivoting. Sorry, unpivoting. Okay, here it is displaying in rows, right? What we will do is, but any of this is not much helpful. Unpivot only selected columns. In this case, it gives you the same thing. Okay, year 2021, 2020, but here it will add additional attribute like you can specify some value here. Okay, so in this case, it is not much helpful. But for example, in the case of sorry, not here, expenses here. Okay, here I just do the pivot one more time. Okay, in this kind of situation, if you do unpivot, select columns. So here it comes here. Okay, here you can specify Jan, Feb, month, something like that. Okay, you can type it here. So one is Jan, Feb, something like that. You can say something like that. Okay. But we have one specific use case. I forgot it. Probably I will check back and come back to you. Okay. Say the select this option, the unpivot only selected columns. Okay. So there, if you have multiple records, for example, here, okay, here you have a month, but here is your column now. But here, yeah, sales profit, something like that. Yeah, something like, the for month one, what is the value here and what is the value here. But exactly you need to know in month one what these values are in rows one and what values you have it in the rows two. Okay, and in that case you have sales and profit, and again month two sales and profit, month three sales and profit. So in that kind of situation, this is very much helpful. We can give it a try. That is another assignment. You can take it up. You just try that way. You can put some dummy values in the existing data set. Oddly, we have few records, so you can put some dummy data and create a new cell called profit. Put some dummy data alpha. Why don't you give it a try? Because you just passed now, and since you are free at home, you can give it a try. Okay. That is one thing you can try it out. Okay, fine. So now you understood what is transpose, what is unpivot and pivot. In unpivot, we have three options are available. First two options are pretty straightforward. Third one is very specific to any specific use cases formatting. But guys, believe me or not, we have a matrix visual that is available in our report canvas. With that, you can do uh, pivoting and unpivoting in a pretty fast way. But this is another option. Okay, you can give it a try here itself. Okay, and we have reverse rows. We have something else called reverse rows. And what I do is I just go up here and I just undo this one. I don't need this one. Okay, now if I wanted to reverse this, so the bottom record will become the first record. The second bottom most record will become the second record. See, it is something like descending order. Entire record, you can see it in descending order. If you want to see in the, again, if you click on it, it'll change it like this. Okay, this is reverse rows. So now we have explored the transpose, reverse rows, and pivot and unpivot. Okay, hope you understand. The count rows, when you click on it, it will give you the total number of records. Look here, the 9 records are there. And once you see this, you make sure that you are clicking on this cross sign here. That's it. Okay. And what else we have? The next one is the index, how to create index. Okay. And in this case, I just go here. We have something called index column option is available. So what is index column? Why do I need to create index column? In the case of Power BI, you know very well, when you use more than one file or more than one table to select the data, you need to define the relationship between the table. It cannot be a standalone table. You need to define a relationship. Supposing in a single report, single visual, in your matrix visual, you want to bring the data from two different table. Obviously it should have some kind of relationship, one to many relationship. Otherwise what will happen is it will not show the accurate value. It will show some something non-readable kind of thing. Okay, it's readable, but it will not do the filtering correctly. It will repeat the same value again and again. So hence you need to create the relationship. In order to create relationship, you need to have the for primary key and foreign key to be defined at your table level. I'll show you what is primary key and foreign key. Don't worry. Customer ID and okay, these two are supposed to be linked here. Forget about all the other tables. You just look at the dim customer NC daily sales. Any of we will discuss this in detail as part of the data modeling section. The line, this is called a relationship. The line, what you're seeing, the link. Okay, you need to create the link between. The link is called relationship. Here, customer ID, cust ID column, and then if you see here the customer ID, these two columns are common column between these two tables. And if you hover the cursor, which means when you keep the cursor on top of this line, this one will get highlighted. And in both side of this, if you see here on the left side, customer ID, on the right side, cust ID column got highlighted, which means we have used these two columns to create the relationship between these two tables. How did I create the relationship? I just simply selected this value and dragged and dropped on top of this one. This is very much important. Don't drop it on some other column, because customer ID and customer ID column should get linked. Okay, right? So these two. But what will happen is sometimes, let's say, you have something called country column. Okay, in the country data set, you have it. In the country data set, you don't have any unique key in it. Okay, in that kind of situation, you need to create the index value manually. Okay, only then what will happen is you are okay. Here, first of all, I'll explain what is this customer ID in this table. What is the customer? Both of them are same. If I double click on this link, it will open the manage relationship window. Here you can see that the customer ID in this table, dimensional customer dimension, as well as NC daily sales. You see here and here the customer ID and this customer ID, right? Cust ID, though the column names are not same, and with this only we are relating that we are creating the relationship. Okay, customer and customer. I think this is the customer is correct table only. Okay, so this customer ID and customer ID you need to select. So we are telling that internally, you based on these two columns, you join this table so that when you do a lookup a later point in time, you can get the customer name from this table. Usually the customer name will not be available here, but in this case it is available anyhow. So this is how it works, but don't worry, we'll explain it in detail. So we have to, especially when you create when you load more than one file, you need to create the relationship between the tables. Okay, otherwise it will not do the filtering. Okay, and make sure that you are creating the relationship with proper tables. Okay, and if you create the relationship with the wrong tables, okay, here customer ID is there, here also customer ID is there, but this customer ID is completely different from this customer ID, then it will cause some confusion. Those things we will discuss it later, don't worry. And the point here is this customer ID is the primary key in this table. In this table, this is a foreign key, because the customer ID in this table, okay, the value for the customer ID in this table should come from this table, outside of this table. Since customer ID values are coming outside of this table, especially from this table in this case, we call this key here as a foreign key, whereas here it is called as a primary key, which means in the customer table, you are not supposed to have a duplicate value in the customer ID. Supposing I have 3 customers whose name is John. For example, I have 3 customers. 3 customer name is John. And again, John and John. So when I look at my transaction file, order transaction, I could see the 3 John, three names of John is there, the three transactions related to John. So with that, how I can interpret this one. So since I can see three orders raised by John, three Johns, does that mean a single person or raised three or different orders, or are these three guys are different? How will I know? With help of customer ID. For example, customer ID is 1, and for him we have assigned a customer ID as 2. With this, we can understand, yes, sorry, this is customer ID 3. These three, with the help of the customer ID, it's something like Aadhaar number. Though the person name can be same, but the Aadhaar number cannot be same for all the person. So with the Aadhaar number, we can understand this guy is different, this guy is different, this guy is different. So Aadhaar number is a primary key. You just think that way. In this case, the customer ID is the primary key. Here, I cannot put again one here, one for another person. Let's say one, again, if I put one here and for other name, don't, ask me, okay, here again, I'm putting one, but I'm specifying other person name, Rajesh. In that case, the person name is different. It should accept. No, here the key column is the customer ID. Here, you're not supposed to have duplicate values. Here, you can have duplicates. Okay, a person can be, so with so many people can have the same person name, but each person should have unique ID, Aadhaar number. That is the idea here. So here the customer ID is your primary key. Okay, and for each person, only one unique record will be there. Whereas here, in this case, the same John can appear multiple time here. Okay, because this guy customer ID with 1, the John, so you would have ordered 10 different times, 10 different orders are there. Let it be there. So in that case, customer ID 1 will be there. Customer ID 2 will be there. So with that customer ID, we can understand, though the number of transactions we can see 10, the customer ID is 2, which means that transaction was done by the other John. With that, you can distinguish it. So here you can have duplicate values on the customer ID column because it is a foreign key. Foreign keys, the values for this one comes from this table, the dimension customer table. So these values are coming from outside of this table, and this is called your foreign key. So here, if you see on this side of the table 1, on this side of the table, you can see star, which means one to many. A single customer can order, can raise more than one order, right? So that is what it says. So what will happen is some cases, let's say you have some new table, country data, you got it. So your manager wants to do country-wise sales breakdown. So in that case, this is the first time you asked. What you do is you put all the country names in a separate table, and you need to specify the unique key there, but there is no unique keys available. In that kind of situation, the index is very much helpful. Okay, and I just show you. Let's assume that here the customer dimension table, you don't have any. I just select this one. Let's assume that hypothetically, okay, and let's say here we don't have the customer ID. You have all the customer name, or the other example is country name. You have the country name here, and but you don't have any unique values here. So in that case, you can go to the add column. In the add column, you will find the index column. You can click on from 0. It will create a new column along with this one. You just assume that this column is not available. Okay, in that case, you can assign the unique key like this. Instead of creating 1, 2, 3 and all, just go to the add column, and this one can serve as a key column, primary key column. Okay, and the other alternative is instead of starting the index values from 0, you can may change it to 1. So how do I change the starting value and the increment of the starting value? Just go to the right side and you have added index. This is the step we carried out, and you just click on the wheel icon here. When you click on it, it will open up like this. So here you can see the starting index is 0, increment by 1. Here what you do is you can specify the starting index is 1, the increment is 1. So it will start with 1. We don't want the index value to be start with 0, instead 1 to 3. Or if you think no, we don't, this is not acceptable, and what to do is you can specify some custom value also. So here you can say the custom value is, our invoice number should start with 1000 and increment by 1. So what will 1000, 1001, 1002, something like that. Okay, you can do it this way also. So instead of going to the menu here itself, you can do it. Once you create, if you think you need to change this one again, just go to the added index one, the first one. Instead of 1, you can specify 1000 here. This is another alternative. The customer name should, for the customer table, the index value should start from 1000, something like that. Okay, this customer ID, this is my customer ID. You can say the customer ID or something, customer ID, something like that. So for those table, you don't have any unique key column. Using index, you can create the unique key column. Okay, and then you rename it with some meaningful name. Yes. Here, I just give some meaningful name. Here, let's customer ID, something like that. Okay, affect these steps. We can rename it this way. But in your transaction table, like I have shown here, the NC sales, something like that. So there also you need to, whenever any new customer data enters here, not this one. Whenever any new data, any transaction enters here, make sure that, so in that the customer ID, whatever you mentioned it here, that one should go there. This 10,000. For example, today John is making and raising an order. His customer ID should also go along with this one. So in this case, the country, state, country, customer name, discount, and what is the product we purchased, all the details will be there along with this customer ID should go there. Okay, that is a different thing. You don't have to worry at this moment. You just understand what is index. With index, you can create unique values. And so why do we need to create unique values? To create the relationship between the tables, one to many relationship. In that kind of situation, this is very much helpful. Okay, you got it? Okay. Next, we will take a look at something. Second, I'll just go here.